I'm going to try to show basically how I typically string up my guitars. If you see how I do the first wrap over the top of the post and then every other one underneath. I didn't get as many as I usually like to get on this particular one, but it's the low E string and I'm not too terribly concerned. But I'll show you how I do the A. And typically I try to have the A string, or the tuning peg, be aligned with how the string comes in. And I put one wrap over the top. I'm doing this one-handed, so this is kind of strange here, but see, I just manually put it over the top there and bring it down like so. So I'll put the string on. I usually put all of them in there and so that they're all seated fairly well. And then I'll bring it all the way down here, and like I said, try to keep it all in line. But I try to generally go about the next peg or so. You know, if I was doing the D string, I'd be out to about here. But this one, roughly there. It's not an exact science or measurement. It's just roughly I try to get it out to there. If this was 6 on one side, like a Stratocaster, a Telecaster, that sort of thing, I'd go about 2 pegs out. But this is just how I do it. So I go back here, and I put one wrap over the top. I'm doing this one-handed, so this is kind of strange here. But see, I just manually put it over the top there and bring it down like so. And I like to bend the post, basically what's going to get trimmed off here. I like to bend that up so that all the rest of the wraps get helped to guide underneath that post. See, now I've wrapped a little bit, and I'm keeping my right hand, my index finger, pushing that down to be sure that it goes underneath. See, I've wrapped a little more. It's going to be difficult to show here. But you can see how it's going to go underneath. So the theory or the intent is for the wraps to kind of pinch on the post, to kind of lock it in there. From here, we're really in a good spot with the wraps. And then I'll get out my handy dandy string winder, or speed winder, or whatever you want to call it, and wind them all down. Also notice how I like to have the keys in a vertical position so that the speed winder doesn't bang into the keys. And no matter what, I mean, I don't bring any of them up to pitch or tune until they're all strung up. So I'll try to keep all the keys in that vertical position. Now then, you'll see that this peg has come up a little bit from the pressure, and so I just keep pushing down. I actually reach inside the guitar whenever I'm putting the strings in and trying to put the pegs, the bridge pins in, to be sure that the ball end isn't sitting at the end of the bridge pin, but in front of the bridge pin in that slot and wedged up against the bottom of the top of the guitar. But I always have to go back here and keep pushing down here and be sure that they're seated. See, this guy is seated just fine, and this one is too for now, but I'm going to keep on winding this up. Actually, this is in a pretty good, it's not tuned, but see how many wraps I have here. 3 wraps, 1 over the top, all the rest of them underneath. I got 2. That's pretty decent. That's really the goal right there whenever I do this, is to have it so that there's 1 over the top, 2 underneath, and then I trim it as close as I can without, and I try to have this sticking away so that I don't accidentally cut that. Ask me if I've ever done that before. Yes, I have done that before. It's not fun. Then you're sitting here with a set of 5 on your string, on your guitar, and you're kind of back where you started, especially if you broke a string, which caused you to change your strings in the first place. So anyway, you know, the ideal is to have it, you know, just a little bit. Let me get a good angle here so that it's, there you go. It's sticking out just a little bit. And anyway, I'll trim this and do a few more. So there, I've trimmed the post. Got the waste off, threw that away. It's sticking out just a little bit. I didn't have to get too close. I mean, you know, might poke myself there. I used to bend these down to get them out of the way. Anymore, I just don't seem to care. Sometimes I'd take my trimmers. I used to take this part of my trimmers and push that down. You're always running a risk of whacking the wood on the headstock, and I don't usually do that anymore. So anyway, so give that a little bit more so that they're all vertical. I'll continue on. See, now I think that's pretty. That is just pretty. Yeah. Decent number of wraps. Sometimes whenever I'm wrapping them, I'll kind of push up on this while it's still loose so that they're snug. This one just, I didn't have to do that. It just came into place just perfect. Nice and pretty. Pretty wrappings. I always hate doing this other side. I guess that's why I save it for last. Because, ooh, there's a broken part of the, I gotta get that off of there. Get that trash off of there before you put your new strings on there. Definitely do that. Get rid of that guy. But I always hate doing the other side because everything seems backwards. And I'm right-handed, but I crank better with my left hand and guide it better with my right hand, and now I've got to switch. So I'm not going to videotape that for you. So just imagine that goes just perfect. Also, this little bit of trash here on the end, usually try to get that off with, you know, some sort of pliers or something. Don't grab that with your fingers or whatever. Just kind of wiggle that, and all of a sudden, boom, it's off right there in your hands. Well, in your tool. Use that. So there you go. All right, you see how, well, this is bad. My left hand, just kind of have a hold of the string, so it's going over there through my hand, and I'm guiding it with my pinky. Let's see if I can get, this is a high E string, so it's really dinky. I try to guide it so that it's already over, it's already, the first wind is over the top of the post, and it's not a great shot. Let's see. Sorry about all the turning and twisting and everything. But now it's underneath the trim part, or the post. I always call it the post. And then I'm going to guide it to be snug up against the previous wrappings. And sometimes I will have to put my finger underneath there and get it, you know, do my fingernail underneath there and push it up so that it's nice and snug and I have nice, pretty wrappings again. So there, let's see if I can get in there nice and close. Yeah, see? Nice, pretty wrappings. And yeah, it's hard to get that with, but yeah, this is the way it's supposed to be. Well, the way I think it's supposed to be. And I'm not saying this is a right or wrong way. It's just how I've done it for about the last 30 years. So I've done it a bunch of different ways, and this seems to be just a nice, clean way of doing it. So on this one, I'm doing it slightly different. You see how I have it, this is the B string. I'm going over my thumb, and then I'm got it hooked with my index finger, then pushed down with my middle finger, and I'm guiding this one actually with my ring finger. Kind of give you a better idea how I like to do that. All right, with this one, I'm going to try to show how I do that first wrap of this part of the string around the top, so that part of that first wind is already in there, and then I push this up. I'm going to do this one-handed. This is not how I typically do it, but I'm trying to illustrate that first step. So I've got it pulled about so far, and I bring it back here. Then with this side, bring it around and make that first partial loop. Usually I have another hand that's holding this tight, putting tension on the string so that it stays in place, and then I bend this guy up. But usually I have two hands, and right now I only have one because the other one's holding my phone. So there you go, is a good example, I guess, to have it over the top of the trimmed post here. And a lot of times I like to bend that down if that's a little longer, like this one. Sometimes I do it with my thumb. Not always the wisest thing to do. Is thing gets poked under between your fingernail and your skin, and that quick. That's smarts, and then you don't feel so smart. So this one here is not as pretty as I would have liked it, but hey, you know, it works. And going back over here, making sure as I went that these are all pushed down and snug in there. There's enough pressure, it's holding them in place. Should be good. And I got my handy dandy snark. No product placement here, folks, but you know, there it is. It works. They don't cost a lot of money, and they're nice. I think I only have one, just this one. Probably be good to have one in each guitar case or something like that. But I've set intonation with this thing. I've got a Peterson strobe tuner, and I bought it years ago to set intonation and really do fine tuning and everything. And what's funny is now I use this to get myself close with the intonation, then I use my ear for the rest of the way. I don't know, I just trust my ear. I guess that's what, you know, 40 years of listening to music and 30 some of playing guitar. Was that 30, coming up on 33 years of playing guitar regularly? That's crazy. I'm old. I've got them all tuned up to pitch initially, and as you're doing that, come back here and keep pushing them down. I mean, after the fact, once they're up to pitch, maybe a little late, but as you're bringing them up, keep your eye back here, because these guys are liable to start working their way up a little bit if the ball isn't seated really well down there. The next part is to seat the string pretty well, so you kind of lift up on the string here a little bit, and lift up here. Basically, a lot of people call this stretching the strings, but it's really seating them in here, seating the windings really well as down at the bridge pins, and stretching the metal. So I think it's a combination of all those things. They call it usually stretching the strings, but you know, Joe Walsh talks about seating the strings in here too, which is really important. Why is it so important, Lauren, to stretch your strings and seat them in the windings and all that? Well, it means that after you have your guitar all strung up and tuned up and everything and stretched and seated, you really don't have to do a whole lot more tuning after that. Your strings aren't going to stretch out of shape. If you don't stretch them, you're going to be constantly battling them to get them in tune. You're going to go, oh man, this just stinks and I don't want to play guitar anymore. So seat them, stretch them, get them up to pitch, stretch them one last time, be sure that they're not giving anymore. You don't have to tug on them a ton, just a little bit, and they'll stay in tune fairly well. Now that when you're tuning, always bring it down and then back up to the note. If it's tuned too sharp, don't take it down to the note. Bring it below the note and then back up to the note. See how this one's a little sharp? Bring that guy up. So now then, it's all tuned up to pitch.